Hello, and thank you for joining us for Moss Talks, where more conversations and more culture. I'm Joel, co-founder, creative director for Moss Magazine.
And I'm Sydney, editorial director and co-founder from Lost Magazine.
Sydney, we never really talked about how we have a theme or like how we create those themes. Do you want to touch on our current theme for issue 8?
Sure. For those listening, I hope you are cuddling up also with your copy of issue 8. Our theme for it was incognito. And as Joel touched on, we do themes for every single issue. Sometimes the themes come from me, sometimes they come from him. This one specifically came from me, and I was honestly, I had a dream I had a fish. It's never happened before. And I kind of just wanted to talk about how there's a lot of talent out in the world and a lot of creatives who are out there, but they're kind of incognito right now. They might be hesitant to share their work or don't really know how to put themselves out there, haven't gained that confidence yet, or maybe they don't think like their work is worthy, but it is because there is someone out there who can connect with it. So, that's kind of just like the overall idea.
And so, what was the vision you had that made you think of it?
Well, I was kind of dreaming, kind of not. I think I was just like in the in between before I fell asleep. And I just like saw like black and white, well, like a white background and like someone wearing black with like the glasses. And I was like, ooh, they're incognito. And I was like, wait, that's something. So I took some time to develop it out. Here we are.
What do you hope people learn from this issue?
Um, to just share your work. Don't be afraid. Know that even the greatest of the greats were once scared, but you got to take that leap and, have the courage to put yourself out there.
What advice would you give someone who's trying to put themselves out there?
I feel like this is such a formal interview. Why am I
Well,
being interviewed?
you thought of the theme. I'm asking you the questions here.
Oh, why don't you touch on a theme that you've done before?
Well, I can talk about the last one because I thought of that one. Summer Heat. That theme really was about trying to get people to embrace their inner child, get back to that summertime where everything was fun. What were they experiencing? What cultures did they experience? What moments did they have in their life that really reminded them of their culture? So yeah, that
Mm.
was the whole idea of it. It didn't really go as a plan because things never really do, but it still was a good issue. I'm still proud of what we were able to do.
And where did you draw inspiration from for that?
Honestly, that was when I was about to go to the Kendrick concert, and a lot of it was like I was trying to find ways to remind people of their culture. So I was like, what can I really do that will really like when we talk to people to remind them of who they are, their upbringing, why they do some of the things they even do now. So
I
yeah,
think it
what
was great. It was very vibrant. It was probably one of my favorite issues design wise. I will say, I think you did really well with it. It was pretty cool to see come to life. And because we also, we like to talk to everyone we interview and like talk to them about the theme and see how they can connect to it. So it was also really cool to hear the ways that people were connecting to Summer Seat and like thinking about, where they came from and like their summers as a kid, because like that really does shape who you are. So I think that was a fun exploration on your part.
yeah, it was a very saturated issue. But anyways, talking about saturation and colors, we'll have another vibrantly filled interview. Stick around for that and continue our next segment. We have a lot of fun. Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to Moss Talks. Today, we're joined by Mithsuca, a multidisciplinary artist whose work spans murals, quilts, posters, and more. Mithsuca, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Sorry if you hear my jingling, like
Yeah.
add some ASMR to the vibe.
You're fine. So, I'm going to get on to our first question. How has your relationship with art shifted over time, considering your work across so many mediums?
I definitely think I have, because I've been doing my thing for a long time. Like I've had my platform since I was in high school. Um, and Like at first, like it was like based off of this like excitement to like explore and like put myself out there and put my work out there and connect with people. And that's still the foundation. Um, but as the culture of media, like the internet, like I started making my work when Instagram like first was a thing. Like when things were still crispy and you were putting like the Rio de Janeiro filter on things, like I was posting at that point, and I was also posting on Tumblr and stuff. I've always been like pretty online, and I didn't have in my personal vicinity access to many creative spaces. It wasn't until I worked at the ICA Boston for a while, a long time, and that would like I was experiencing like just like I got to meet different contemporary artists. I got to interview them like at a pretty young age. So I was like able to start taking my work seriously outside of the context of just like, oh, I just like to draw or like let me do this still life charcoal, whatever. Like I could see that there's just so many different ways of making art that like are not traditional. And I think that that motivated me to think outside. I also didn't go to art school. Like I'm entirely self-taught. I didn't go to school, period. Um, So I had to build my practice from just what I had. And what I had was, yes, my local community, but also the internet and like digital spaces. And like that's been the foundation of my practice as a whole. And that has been really motivating and inspiring and exciting, but also as the culture of the internet shifts and, reveals some of the cracks in that, like as beautiful as it is to have access to everybody's thoughts at all times, all the time. I think when it comes to making your own identity as an artist, like it can be overwhelming and you can kind of lose yourself to like the endless possibilities of choice that people have. Um, so it's changed in the sense that like I've I've just matured my practice to not be dependent on the internet, but to be inspired and motivated by just like advancement in general. Like I love the
Mhm.
conversations around like how accessible art has become and in ways that's made it really brought a lot of innovation to the table. But as a very spiritual person, like I want to remain grounded and rooted in like the relationships I have in real life, like,
Mhm.
creating spaces for people to have access to art who may not have Instagram. I don't think people should have to have Instagram to be able to do things. So it's made me strike the balance between like the digital space that my art takes up and the very real physical space. And so trying to master both of those arenas and make sure like my work doesn't lean too much into either extreme has been like where my art has changed the most. And so like it's been a mixture of like me holding digital space and making my work accessible, but also like challenging what it looks like, challenging myself and like making things with my hands again, like making sure that I continue to like maintain that skill. And like people on the internet can have the treat of it, but the people who experience it in person slash me who's actually like physically making the thing, that's a completely different experience. So like honoring both of those things and allowing that to be like just a fun prompt for what I want to create next. Do I want to create it for the digital ether? Do I want to create it for in person? Do I want to create it for both? And what does that look like?
Mhm.
And so it's become way less about just being like a technical artist who can like, draw the most accurately and realistically and more about like just the messaging and the ideas and like finding the in my way in my language finding the way to communicate my thoughts.
Mhm. I'll say I really love that because and since you started Instagram so early, like it's really important to not stay stagnant. If you've done a great job at doing that, and especially when you talk about your physical art and make sure you're staying technical, but also staying aware of where you are presently, like that's really amazing because in a way, in my way of how I understood it was like you're an athlete of your art because like you're always practicing, you're always studying, you're always improving, whether that be with your hands or with your mind. Yeah, that's
I
my interpretation.
I also love that you touched on accessibility in art, because I think that's very important, especially for us Black and Brown people,
Mhm.
because we may not have those invitations to be featured in these amazing museums and galleries across the world, but that doesn't mean our art isn't worthy and that we can host, our galleries in our living room if we wanted to, and people would come and see it. So I also love that you are recognizing that art isn't just for, the higher ups in the world, but for everyone, because especially like I feel like us, like a lot of like we are very creative people, and so we're surrounded by artists a lot of the time, or people who don't even realize they're artists. So it like opens, their eyes to like, hey, I am creative too, and I can do this, or I see myself in this. So I love that.
And I definitely have been around long enough and in many enough spaces to see the tea. I definitely
Mhm.
over time, like I've been at the little gallery openings with the light refreshments, the light wine, and then all the white people in the room and like the uncanny, just like the imposter syndrome of having people say they understand your work, but they don't. Even if they respect it, even if they can technically, on like a just an art level, recognize it as good. Um, there's like a spectacle and like a performative aspect to a lot of the ways that people receive like Black art and like queer art and stuff. Um, and it's funny at times. It gets you the funding at times, but it does weigh on your spirit when you feel like there's a deeper message to your work that the audience doesn't have access to. And so all of those spaces are pretty saturated with people who kind of enjoy art for the um exclusivity of it all. And for the just like the ego boost of being an intellectual, being an academic, having access to good art and cool people, and less of like, oh, I feel personally connected with this person's work. And I feel like I had to create the boundaries with that, so that I could spare my mental as an artist too, and like not have those people inform like the decisions I make creatively, like what I think is gonna flop and what I think is not. Like it takes a lot to stand by your ideas without like guarantee of it being like supported or celebrated by the masses, because the masses is actually not the opinion that you want.
Yeah.
That was also what I've learned over time.
Yes, thank you for touching on that. I relate heavy to that. That's like something I also realized and dealt with in film school. And just like truly understanding and experiencing like the industry is run by white men, and I don't want them to understand my work or, be in charge of what I get to do. And that was also a big like that was a big decision in me wanting to do this magazine with Joel. Like, it was like, no, I'm gonna platform people who have amazing stories to tell to people who can understand their stories and, not feel like they're performing or whatever. So, thank you for also touching on that aspect of art in general. But I want to ask you, is there a medium that feels most like home to you right now?
I mean, I haven't done it I mean, it's been like, I think a month since my last mural, but murals have been really good. Um, I love public art down. That was like, I think that was also the biggest turning point in my work is like, I've always been interested in murals, but like it does take a lot of energy and resources and time and support. But like that is like my meditative space. Like when I'm painting and I'm just like vibing and then I step back and like the like block or sidewalk or whatever that I just painted on just like lights up. It just has a different energy that it brings to the neighborhood, to the community, whatever the building. Like that feels very ancestral to me, especially when I look back on like Caribbean architecture and how much like vibrancy and stuff is part of the ways that we engage with public art, and how we represent our culture, and how there is a psychological impact of color on us every day, and how actually important it is to continue these practices, because of the well-being of our communities. Like, woo. And yeah, so I take that, I feel like that practice in itself, or just my practice in general, like has an intersection between like, yes, it's like art, but it's also like medicine work, it's also healing work, it's like my personal altar, It's the ways that I also feel like through some of these projects, like I'm like a creative doula or like a doula for any grief that people feel in that space or in that community, like transmuting that into something else, like getting them to think deeper about how they feel, and what they know about themselves, and making that introspection accessible. Like that is the biggest part. And I feel like the most powerful way of that I'm doing that as of recently has been through murals and through public art. But I make clothes sometimes. I think that's also been really fun. That's more of like like a personal, like I get to watch reality TV and make a sweater on my couch. Like that feels sweet. But um, yeah, I would say that public art and just like the activation of space has been really exciting for me.
Yeah, I didn't even like, of course I think about it, but hearing you talk about it, like, it's just like, wow, like murals, like, they have that power to
Mhm.
really, like, yes, they're transforming the area that they're in, but there's people who, live, like, there's a community there. And they get to see that work every day. And, like, as you said, reflect on it and, really, like, consider it and that art in their space now. And I think that's also really special. And I love that you're able to give that to communities. So yeah, and I think it's always fun to like how people appreciate, again, public art in that way.
Yeah.
Um, because, sometimes people be hating on it, but
Mhm.
it's truly, an art and a
Yeah.
discipline. And you, like you said, you put a lot of energy and time into it. So
And it's always a sweet space. Like I've done murals and had people go to the store, go get me water, bring me water, like try to bring me food, like snacks, just 'cause. Just like it just is a whole, it's like a very intimate experience that like you can in real time see people's excitement through.
Mhm.
And yeah, I also like that's also part of why I moved to Philly, which has the biggest population of murals publicly accessible in the country. And they're all spread throughout all types of neighborhoods, predominantly Black neighborhoods. It doesn't matter. It's not just for the gentrifiers. It's wherever there's a wall and wherever somebody gives permission, there will be a mural. And some of the most amazing artists have touched these walls. And, they could literally just be somebody working at the grocery store type stuff. And I think that that's really powerful. And I would really suggest that anybody who comes to Philly, like, really spend time with that. Um,
And and plus, this may add to it because I just realized Philly got voted for one of the top 10 cities that's most walkable, I
yup.
think.
Yep, and that just makes it even better. It really does. Everywhere is some wrong.
Do you have any habits or practices you do to stay connected to your creativity?
Um, mental health rituals are necessary to stay creative. You have to take care of yourself emotionally. Um, Otherwise, you won't be able to access that part of yourself. Especially in these times. Like I think that people like yes, there's a lot of stimuli and there's a lot to like pull from, but you don't really know what you want to make until you are in a moment of silence and pause and like processing. Like
Mhm.
most of the ideas, like I think a lot of people when they experience like writer's block or like creative block, usually I would say that it has nothing to do with art and everything to do with something that you're experiencing internally. Like you're going to make what you feel called to create. And if you don't feel called to create anything, that's probably because you're not inspired. That's probably because you need some different type of fulfillment. Or maybe you don't even have the capacity and resources to do so. Like there's so many technical things that like stunt someone's ability to like make something and make something that they're proud of. And so I would just say like humanizing yourself and understanding that like being an artist is usually the best for people who are emotionally available. And usually is being an artist is a role that sensitive people take on the most. And so honoring that sensitivity, honoring that you look at the world differently, honoring that, through your intuition and through your senses is how you collect the things that you want to feel inspired about. It's not just like, oh, well, how do I drop something big? How do I build right now type stuff? Like it's literally like You watch a childhood movie and it makes you feel something. You hang out with a friend, it makes you feel something. You eat a good meal, it makes you feel something. And all of those feelings come together to make you have like a thought like, oh, like, what if I did this, that, and the third? I think that that is where creativity usually comes from. And I think a lot of people think it's like, how do I draw good? Which for some people is the case. For some people, that's all it is. But if you are wanting to like build a world or like a universe out of what you're creating, like that requires you to be invested in yourself and your life and your relationships, like in your journey altogether. Because also I don't expect my creativity to look the same for the rest of my life. I don't expect myself to be doing the same thing forever. Like the type of art that I make now may be completely different than the type of art that I make in 20 years. And that's just because of where I could be, who I could want to become, like what I'd learned about myself up to that point. So I need to trust myself that whatever I make is going to be something I like. That's also the thing. Make things you like. Oh my gosh. Make things that you think are cool. Like, even if nobody else vibes with it, like if you think something's cool, like that's enough of a good reason to make something. And I think people are always looking for like what is interesting now, what where does it intersect with the culture? The culture doesn't know what it wants to be right now, especially right now. Don't get attached to none of the things these people are saying, these goofies are saying, because we're all tired of it. So be the person to think of something new and feel something new and follow that feeling because there is no certainty right now for you to know what's going to be a hit, what's not going to be a hit. And like you said, usually like the artists who are slept on are the innovators, are the change makers because they are living within the bubble of their own opinions and thoughts and feelings. Like it can feel like, dang, 3 likes, that's crazy. But like at the end of the day, like there are some people who get millions of likes and it disturbs their soul. The authenticity of their work gets disturbed because so many people's opinions are attached to it. It takes a certain level of resilience to have that many people like giving you opinions about what you're doing and for you to stay true to yourself. Like sometimes you got to be grateful that you don't have everybody like on you, on your body like that. Um, I just make sure that I feel safe, like as a person. And I feel like that is enough for me to want to make things personally.
Oh, yeah, I love that. Yeah, because especially with like as a personal self, when I do photography, I'm always worried about if my client loves it or whoever I'm taking a picture for if they love it. But yeah, really taking that time to make sure I'm mentally prepared, mentally aware of myself is really important. Because if I did, it would just be up to how many likes I got.
Mm-hmm. And it's a time also when you're collaborating, it's a time for you to fuse your vibes with the other person's vibes.
Hmm.
Like relish in that dynamic. I think
Hmm.
collaboration is so powerful and so many cool things can come out of a collaboration when you truly are just like riffing off of another person and you're not thinking about all that other stuff. Like some of the greatest things have come out of just two people being like, what if we just, and
Hmm.
then boom. So yeah, relishing that in that connection, like in just like that experience of like having another person to exchange your thoughts with and seeing where that leads you, not even just on a creative level, but just like on an interpersonal level. Practice more of letting people inspire you and you inspire them. And that's usually like where a lot of cool things come from. Like I feel like I a lot of my work like comes from just like simple moments that I've had with like my friends and like my family. It's not like me going looking for like a Monet or like a Picasso and being like, like studying. Like, no, it's just me vibing. Like, art is everywhere. Like, art is literally a response to the beauty and also the grief that surround us. It's like, so I think that people overestimate like what that process should look like when really it should just be vibes.
Hmm.
It's very vibe.
The internet is amazing. Like it's an amazing tool. It's very powerful. It has really connected us like globally. But it also, as you mentioned, like gives all these people so much access to you and you're filled with so many opinions. So I think just you speaking on like stillness and like, just going into yourself and like recognizing you and like the people around you, the things you like to do, it's very like that's much needed today, more than ever. I don't think people take that moment to kind of just reflect and like be still. Instead, we're always chasing like the next thing, the next trend, trying to make more impact. And it's like, no, like sometimes you just like, as you mentioned, you just have to go into yourself and just be with yourself, be in silence and figure out what you're working through, your emotions and things. So I think that's also just a very powerful reminder when it comes to being a creative. Like you don't need to chase, the trends or the high. So going into our next question, you kind of touched on this. What does taking up space with your art look like for you in the future?
Um, I am getting tapped back into my I am getting tapped back into anger, like being mad, being pressed, complaining. Let's get back into not being okay with the stuff that's going on in the world right now. Like
Mm,
that's how I'm gonna take up space. Just like not allowing this the current systems and the current things that are going on in the world to make me complacent. Um, and that looks like me being uncomfortable, and that looks like me being visible to people that I don't like, and being confident enough to do that, knowing the risk associated with it. Like I feel like even with the internet stuff and like censorship and stuff, it's really killed people's motivation to make things, especially like to make things that are relevant to like the political state of the world right now. And a lot of my work is in response in general to the way the world is operating. And that has been made me like a very activating space for people, but also has I wouldn't say made me controversial, but I think in a traditional art world sense, like it's not like people are jumping in my emails to do stuff like back in the day when I was a little bit more like I was never giving corporate art, but I feel like that they would sneak me into there and then I bring my agenda with me and like they would be changed for the better, but they definitely were expecting somebody a little more agreeable in certain spaces. And I can, commend the places that are like, oh, that wasn't bad. We don't have to uphold these standards. Like sometimes they right, sometimes the people be right. And there are other spaces that have been like, okay, let's not do that again. um, because they're just not ready to let go of certain things. Because I will show up into every space very transparent about like what I believe and challenge those spaces to grow. And it used to be kind of hard for me because it felt like I was like, people expect, especially Black and brown artists, to be a lot more palatable and to make themselves small in a lot of places, especially when they're using a lot of us as like token, whatever, as like representation or as like, that DEI vibe. Um, like it can be very clear that although they're inviting you into the space, they're not inviting you to have an opinion. They're not inviting you to like actually shake stuff up. And like that was discouraging for me up to a certain point and did make me question like the kinds of like the culture of the industry that I'm in and like what serves me and what doesn't. And I just had to let go of a lot of like what I could imagine the trajectory of my platform being had I been more agreeable, had I been able to bend more, like knowing that there are some people who are going to be light years ahead of me because they're just capable of making that compromise. And I'm not, and I don't want to. So, like, how do I continue to sustain my practice, like, without bending my morals in any way and not performing in any way? And like taking the good and bad that comes with it, but also like knowing that like there's more good that comes out of it than the bad. Like, I think it's a lot really intimidating, especially in these times when the stakes are so high, to like be in resistance. But the reward, long-term reward of it, like, has never failed me. Like, I feel like I am an artist that I respect and I love the things that I've made, and I want to make more of it. And so it's more so just like me now, like me wondering what it's going to be like to explore these new obstacles, even just in the ways that technology is changing and all of that stuff. Like just me trying to reach a different type of mastery for my practice and knowing that certain people don't want certain people to have access to that type of mastery and development and forward movement.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I'm like honoring that the fact that that's not going to be a linear process, and not going to be perfect, but I'm going to do it anyway. I did get fatigued after a bit of like the constant push and pull, but now I'm at a point where I feel like I have the energy. I have the energy and the time now because I think I did need to get to that point where I was just like, and you know what? Down with it all. I do not care. You need to get back to the I don't care because that is going to be the only way that you do stuff. Like you follow your intuition to do stuff and not overthink it. Um, and so I'm gonna just like try to be as black as possible, try to be as queer as possible, really make the conservative wave as uncomfortable as possible, but also be a model of what life can be when you allow those intersections to exist freely. Like a lot of people have misconceptions about a lot of things, and sometimes by connecting me, they're like, I'm the first of my kind that they've ever met before. That's exposure therapy, you know, because based off of the communities people exist in, like the ideologies they've been raised with, like they may have a more closed minded idea of people like you. And that's not inherently bad. It's not inherently harmful. It's just how life is. Um, and so like, yeah, just taking up that space and being an example of what it's like to live at these intersections, to embody these identities and to like stand by it and not bend to all this other stuff. And that can be exhausting. I think also for like people of color, for Black folk, it can be really exhausting to constantly have to be the person to like be like Black people exist and not in the way that you think. Um, but there is a time and a place for it, and I think that now is just the time. I'm tired, but we got to get back into it. We got to we got to schedule that revolution low key,
High key.
high key.
Well, I just want
Mm,
to say I appreciate you for taking that step, and I'm very excited to see how your art evolves in the future. As you mentioned, like we're literally coming off like that back end of the peak of BLM,
yeah,
and with just like the presidency and stuff, like everything is becoming conservative, and it's
yeah,
awful. And so I really love that you're like actively fighting back against it because like I feel like lately I have literally been watching in real time like people just shut it down.
yeah.
And it's like it's so discouraging, but hearing you talk and hearing that you're like feeling your anger and like you're literally going to create to fight against that, like I'm like that gives me hope and that gives me like that sparks my fire to
Mhm.
like keep doing what we're doing, especially here with the magazine.
Yeah.
Because again, like the DEI thing, like I'm literally seeing like in my work life, like it's shifting things. So it's just like thank you for, seeing that and working against it.
Mhm. And you know, like it's also a generational thing. Like not to be like the youth, because everybody want to do that. But
Mhm.
I think that our generation is at a turning point where we are becoming we're going to become elders one day. Like it's a turning point between being the kids to being the adults that people look up to and being peers with each other. And then we're going to eventually elevate to a point where we're going to be elders who pass on wisdom and information. And
Mhm.
I think people just were not ready, especially with the quarantine, to be thrown into like, oh no, y'all got this type stuff. So I feel like yes, like keep the magazine alive. Be the space that people go to like meet each other, connect with each other, like experience like new stories and stuff. Be that space because there's not going to be other people to do it for you. Like there, people may have their own iteration, but the space that you're creating is going to connect to the people that you're directly you know, working with. Um, and that is important for that space. Like the ripple effect that you have on the people that are in your vicinity, the people who experience your magazine, the people who experience y'all as creatives one on one, stretches way beyond just like you and that one person. That person takes that experience with you and they take it to another person. That person takes that experience and takes it to another person. Like that is the only way that we're gonna be able to really have impact on each other long term. And so the people who are taking initiative to be facilitators of that impact, like they need to be protected. And the burnout is real. The burnout is real. I think a lot of people, especially after some of the most cool projects came out of the quarantine, and because somebody was tired, that them Instagrams haven't been open since 2020. And it sucks. It really sucks. But I understand because it's a lot. It's a lot to do by yourself. So yeah, take care of yourselves and keep it coming. Keep it coming.
Yeah, same to you. Same to you.
Again, go check out Mithsuca. Please check out all their work. Please go check them out on Instagram. I'm pretty sure they have TikTok. Like check out the work. They do murals, art, any form of art. So please support, like, comment. You know all you know the drill. Do it all. Thank you.
Thank you.
But anyways, that was a great conversation with Mithsuca. Go check out their work again, their Instagram, their any platform you can think of. Please like, support, comment, do all you gotta do. If you ain't got $1, repost it. If you ain't got 50 cents, leave a comment. If you ain't got a quarter, like it. Thank you. Thank you.
And if you are in Philly or you happen to be visiting Philly, one of the most walkable cities in this country, first of all, you might as well just walk and experience some murals as well as their murals. I know they're all over that town. So that's another way you can support. Go and view it, take it in, take a picture of it, shout them out on social, whatever. Go experience their work in real life.
It's
Thank you.
always it's always funny watching you find out a new fact. It's always hilarious. Like I appreciate how in how you say how much you incorporate yourself into that fact, but it's so interesting.
Well, I was always that kid who was like, fun fact. So
You got any other fun facts we should know?
yes, I'm exposing myself a little bit. I was that girl.
Was but
Okay.
any
Anyways,
but yeah, also we can go back to their a color that always shows up in the work, orange, true orange head over here. Literally orange case, orange SD card case. I have an orange drawing pad, orange pencil. Yeah. It don't
it's
get much more
so
orange as it is.
it's so real that our like Google tab for the magazine is orange. What y'all know about that? And I would show y'all, but I have an orange lamp on my desk too. My phone case may not be orange, but she's mixed in all around. I love orange.
But if orange was an option on this lamp, it would be orange. I don't know how to yet. I'll figure it out. But anyways,
It's not.
no, it's like it has red, green, blue, yellow, blue, and purple, I think that
If it
is.
has red and yellow, it should be able to make
That's what I was
orange.
thinking, but I don't know. I'll try it
Mm.
later. Maybe next time it'll be orange, probably, because I would love to have orange. I didn't know it could make serotonin levels. I knew colors did that, but I didn't know orange was one of them.
It's also going to be another fun fact of mine. I think that is so cool because it's true. Like, I think color therapy is a thing. So that's really cool how,
Yeah, there
like,
is.
exposing your, like, certain colors can genuinely make you feel away. And I didn't realize that orange
Yeah.
produced
Fun
serotonin. So
fun
that's so
fact.
cute.
Fun fact. The color purple is supposedly make you feel hungry or make you want to eat more, which is why some restaurants use the color purple in their designs or in like
Like
in their
Taco
room
Bell.
somewhere. Hmm?
Yeah, like Taco Bell.
Yeah.
And oh no, not color therapy. I think it's color psychology.
I
Red
mean it's
makes you
kind of
want
the
to
same thing.
buy more and consume. So like McDonald's is red, Target is red. Like it makes you want to buy more. Like it makes you
Also,
like feel like, "Ooh, I gotta buy something."
that leads me to another point. Is it I want to know if those facts where we're getting them from, is it from someone that's just like, oh, like when I think of Target, I think of red, and there's like, oh, it makes you
Um,
want to buy. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not really a fact. It's just like common knowledge someone's picked up on.
no,
It's
it's a there's research and stuff into it.
like, yeah, I know there's research, but I'm just saying, like, it could have stemmed from that.
No, I think like I think probably someone was studying color psychology and then they like went out into the real world and realized, oh shucks, Target has a lot of red all throughout this store, and red means this, that, and the third. So
Yeah,
this is kind of what Target is trying to accomplish in their like motif of red. Like I
their
think it
their
was that.
next their next study should be see if they can take someone and change their ideas of color theory, of natural color theory. Like,
That's crazy work.
no, I'm saying like if instead of instead of them thinking that red is like to buy, what if red to them was like to sleep?
Did I be scared of you? Oh my
I'm just
gosh.
saying it's an idea.
When did you realize your favorite color was orange?
Well, it stems from birth. When I was in my mother's tummy,
Oh,
she used to eat what was it? It was an ice cream, orange sherbet ice cream. That's what it was. Orange sherbet ice cream. Then when I got out, my mom was telling me, we used to go to my grandma's house. My grandma used to have the orange sugar ice cream. She used to feed my mom. She used to have it in the fridge. I used to come out and be like, hey, I need some of that.
she used to feed my mom. She had it in the fridge. I'm sorry, that's
Hmm.
hilarious.
Yeah, I was like, I need some of that. See, when I grew up, when I started coming over, I was like, you got orange sugar ice cream? But yeah, I'll be over there, eat it up. And so I just like orange. I would if orange wasn't the national color for prison systems, I would wear it.
I think after learning about orange, I think I'm gonna try to include it more into my everyday fashion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
It'll be
know. I don't remember when I realized orange was my favorite color. I'm pretty sure it used to be pink because again, I had a hot pink room for
mm-hmm.
up until the pandemic. That's how long I had my hot pink room. I was like 19. And I love the cheetah girl. So I was always just like a pink and cheetah girl.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I don't know, I guess after 20, I was like, you know what? Orange brings me happiness and it's really vibrant and it's fun. And I like all the shades of orange. I don't like all the shades of pink. So,
Yeah, if somebody would have met me, they probably would think I like the New York Knicks. 'Cause I literally love blue and orange so much.
oh yeah, yeah. When I
Yeah,
think of you, that's literally what I think of.
me and
Orange.
blue and orange go like hand in hand. If like again, if orange won't color for prison system, I'd be orange head to toe.
I was thinking about to say that because you do wear a lot of blue, but you don't wear as much orange. So yeah, like you naturally incorporate blue into your wardrobe. So I think if you get over that dilemma, that stigma,
Yeah,
whatever the word is, you'll be able to comfortably wear some more orange too.
yeah. And like I also wear blue 'cause I feel like it look like it if it looks attractive on me to me.
Oh yeah, it looks good on you.
Hmm, thank you.
Oh.
But of course.
Anytime.
All right. Anywho, before she start walling out. But but yeah, that's been a great segment. Thanks for tuning in. This is Moss Talks. I'm Joel. That's Sydney. If you have a favorite color, comment on the winner art post. Just tell us the color. That's all you gotta do. If it's yellow, say yellow.
Guys, use those comments. Leave us comments. Talk to us. We talk back.
What they say? Come and talk to me.
I said we
I really
talk
wanna.
back. We don't sing back.
I really wanna know your name. Come and talk to me. Yeah, this is what you got to deal with on the daily. Thank you. I'm Joel. That's Sydney. This is Mom's Talk. We have more conversations and more culture. Hit that like button, repost, yeah, and comment. Thank you. Have a good day.